Okay, yes, as we were mentioning before, is Zion Adar. And Adar is the birthday and the Yortzeit of Moshe Rabbeinu. So Hayom Yom for today. It is imperative that every Jew know that he is an emissary of the Master of all, Adon Koel, the Lord of everything, charged with implementing, wherever he may be, God's will and intention in creating the universe, namely, to illuminate the world with the light of Torah and Avodah. This is done through observing practical mitzvot and implanting in oneself fine character traits. Okay? Big job. But we're equipped for it.
It's very similar to what we read a couple of days ago.
Okay. I don't remember.
But what your translation is slightly different. What at some point what edition?
This book. What?
Yeah, well, the outside looks
the same
outside looks similar, but what year?
What edition?
Yeah, if you know. This one's from 88, I think.
I don't see it. We'll do the Refuah Shleimas. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, 57, 11 Nisan 5748. Publisher's forward. Well, that's the publisher's forward to the first printing.
The first
print. Sorry. And then there are other printings. Yeah.
Translator's introduction to the blank edition.
I don't know. Let's talk about this afterwards, okay?
Okay, just post it. I'm just curious because there's slight differences in the English translation.
Refuah Shleimas?
Devor Rachel bat Me'em Chava.
Refuah Shlema, Bekorev.
Yeshua ben Saraleah, Yehudis Chana bas, Yehudis Golda bas Elisa Chana, Hava Daniela bas Naomi Chana.
Refuah Shlema. Okay, lessons in Tanya. We're doing Shabbos today, remember? We finished Friday.
Sorry, I had it on.
What?
I had it on mute. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It was on mute. Baruch ben Yamin ben Rachel Blimo, Elka Rachel bas Elisa, and I guess Shoshana bas Hana. And thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
And Omer ben Tali.
Omer ben Tali. So Laban Refuah Shlema.
And Sivichaya bas. Now I forgot. Elisheva, what's the mother's name? Leah Masha.
Okay. Refuah Shlema to all of them. So we're here, we're doing the 8th of Adar, Shabbos. We're doing chapter 28. It's a whole chapter for Shabbos. In this, it's on page 366. And in this, Likutei Amorim, it's on page Lamed Hey. Perek Koyach, power, 28. Okay, so we've been talking at length about, basically about Hiskafia, subjugating the Yetzer Hara, subjugating the negative, both in terms of its drag toward things which are prohibited, and also its drag to indulging oneself in things which are permitted. Now here we're going to analyze a different case, but in my experience, a fairly common case. Perek Kov Ches. If there falls to a person, remember, this word fall is used a lot, meaning it's not voluntary, right? It's fallen into you. It's possessed you as if coming in from the outside. These negatives. Where did they come from? But they're here. These strange thoughts. And let's say they come into you at the time of avodah. You're in the middle of a mitzvah, or you're in the middle of Torah, and you're actually praying with kavanah. You're in the middle of praying paying attention to Pirush HaMilos, to the meaning of the words, and even to the inner meaning of the words. And all of a sudden, there falls to you strange thought. So the Alter Rebbe says, Al Yosis Lev Alai, don't put your heart to them at all. You should immediately remove remove them from your mind. Don't try to work with them. Now, what does it mean, work with them? He's going to describe here an avoida with the negative that a tzaddik can do. Now, the tzaddik's avoida with the negative is not his own negative. The tzaddik has no negative, but the negativity of everybody else affects the tzaddik, and the tzaddik can elevate them. But we're not tzaddikim in that respect. So therefore, v'gam al yehi shaita, don't be a fool, la'asig behalos hamidos, to try to elevate these midos shel hamashava zora, of this strange thought. Now, what does it mean to elevate the midos of this strange thought? This is explained really well in lessons in Tanya. If a person has a desire, right, for something that's prohibited, or a desire to do something which is permitted, but it's just not the right time to do this, the root of desire, of wanting something, is in the midah of chesed. Chesed is the root of love. Love means I desire. The word love actually is ohev. It's brought in Chassidus, means to desire something. So one could say, well, let me transform this love that I have for the negative into love and take it back to its source in Kedusha. So the Alter Rebbe said, this is the avodah of a tzaddik. This is not the avodah of a beinoni. A beinoni his avodah is hiskafia, is to subjugate. So don't be a fool, he says. We'll go back inside. Don't be a fool and try to elevate this midas shama shava zora, of this negative thought. Kenoides is known, the notion of elevating the midah to its source is the avoida elevit tzadikim, only of tzadikim. She'ein naiflin lehem ma shava zoras. A tzaddik doesn't have negative thoughts or desires that fall into him. When a tzaddik has some negative sense of negativity, some sense of that, it's mishel acherim, it's coming from others. The tzaddik is the general soul of all of the people, and therefore the tzaddik can feel the generality of all the people, and the tzaddik can take that in and elevate it above, because the tzaddik doesn't have any personal, individual attachment to it at all. So don't try to play tzaddik, basically, is what he's saying. But if something's falling of your own, you have the desire for something, which is either prohibited or not the time for something, it's falling your own stuff, from the level of negativity, of evil in your heart, in the left side of the heart. How are you going to elevate up above when you yourself are tied down here below? So what should you do? Nevertheless, first of all, don't get depressed about this. Don't let your heart fall within you. That here you are. I mean, let's think about this. You're really davening. Mom is davening be'etzem, and your soul is crying out or yearning or feeling connected, and all of a sudden this falls into you, and you say, "Wait a minute, man! I thought I was, really there for a while." Don't get depressed. Don't have that feeling of, "Well, who am I? What worth am I?" Which he expresses in the words, "Al yipo liba b'kirba." Don't let your heart fall down within you. Lies mizeh etzev nivza, to become sad and feel despicable, b'shas ha'avoida, in the time of avoida. This is a trick, right? You're in the middle of avoida. You're in the middle of a mitzvah. You're in the middle of davening. You're in the middle of learning, and this fell into you. This is a trick. No, this is a trick. Because if you're oisik in a mitzvah, you should be misamech, you should be mesimcha b'chol ha-mitzvahs, in all the mitzvahs. And that's the state of being in the mitzvah. So if something is coming, it's coming from the outside. But again, Don't be depressed. We said this, mate. Don't be depressed, because this is, in a Beinoni, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to push it away. What should you do? Just get stronger. Don't pay attention to that. That thing doesn't exist. If you get depressed, you're in his trap, right? That's exactly what the Yetzer wants you to do, because when you're depressed, you have no positive energy, and you're a victim, and you can process that deeper and deeper and deeper, and feel really worser and worser and worser about yourself. On the contrary, strengthen yourself more, and add strength with all of your power. Use this as an opportunity to strengthen yourself in your avodah. With joy and gladness, with an extra measure of joy and gladness, by putting on your heart, taking to heart the following. Know that if the falling into you of a strange thought, comes from the klippos in the left side of the heart, which are designed, the klippos are designed to do battle with the Beinoni, to engage in warfare, milchama, a war with the Beinoni, im nefesh elokis, to engage in a war with the godly soul, shaboy, which is within a person. Benaida, also the shaboy, the godly soul, is invested in the nefesh bahamis, as we learned in the first part of Tanya. He introduces the nefesh bahamis. First, we become alive, animated, and then the godly soul enters into it. So the godly soul is, in a sense, encapsulated in the animal soul. Benaida, as it's known, he gives a mashal for this, the mashal of overcoming and summoning the strength to overcome something which you recognize as negative and is designed to schlep you into its domain, which is a negative domain. Benaida is known derech hanelchomim, the way of warriors, people who are in a melchama, war. V'chein navokim, and also wrestlers, people who are wrestling together, yachat, together. When one of them becomes stronger, azai hasheni misametz lisgaber, that brings out a greater strength in the other. The person wants to win the match. So when one wrestler is overcome by the other, the one who's overcome brings out a deeper power to get that person off his back or off his chest or whatever it is in a wrestling match. So the other one, when one gets strong, the other one exercises his or her greater strength, with all of his powers. So that's the notion of, and that's the reason. Again, we're back to the simple thing of the darkness has or the bitterness, or the two different words which we've used to describe them, chayshik, darkness, and maridos, bitterness, has a positive purpose. As Shlomo HaMelech told us a few pages ago, that there's an advantage that comes out of the darkness, and the advantage is it's meant to bring one to a higher level of manifest strength. Back inside, when the godly soul exercises its strength, misgaberes, and becomes stronger, now I'm going to pray even stronger, now that I've been distracted. So naturally, the klippa is going to become stronger too, to try to tear you away. Connect the opposite. To confuse you and to cause you to fall down through the negative thoughts that are connected with the Yetzer Hara. And don't make a mistake. The world, he says, not like the world makes a mistake. They make a mistake. They conclude from the fact that you've had a fall. This machshava zora miklal she'ein tefilosam klum. They say, listen, I've had a fall. What worth am I? What worth is my prayer? That's a huge mistake. That's exactly what the Yetzer Hara wants from you. To think about, if I fell down, ein tefilosam klum. My tefillah is nothing. She'ilu hispala kuroi. And you go on with this thought, as if I were praying properly, benochen, in the way you're supposed to, I wouldn't be having these thoughts. This is a mistaken viewpoint. And the truth is, the truth would be according to their words. Turn the page in the Likutei Amorim. It would be true if there was only one soul, which was praying. And it's this singular soul which is having these thoughts. If there's one soul and has these thoughts, well, this soul is a little off, isn't it? And I'm going to feel bad about that. But that's not the case. There isn't one soul. In truth of truths, in Shtei Nefashos, as we learned on page 2 or 3 of Tanya, there are two souls, battling with each other, in the brain or the mind of a person. And each one of these two souls wants to dominate inside the person. And the person's mind should be full of just one of them. Each one wants complete possession of what he calls in other places the Ir Katana, the small city in which this war is going on, the small city being each and every one of us. The Kol Yehudi Torah and all the thoughts of Torah, Yiras Shamayim, and the fear of heaven or awe of heaven, Menefesh Elokis, are from the godly soul. The Kol Mila de Alma and all thoughts of preoccupation with things of this world, Menefesh Bahamis, comes from the animal soul. But it's just that the godly soul is enclosed inside of the animal soul. So these two things are operating. And initially, the animal soul has the upper hand. In other words, we're just simply speaking, when a baby is born and opens his eyes, what presents itself to the eyes is not Elokus, but the world. So the world is the first thing that you become aware of. And then the godly soul, as the godly soul matures, the inner worlds, the spiritual worlds, the godly worlds are able to come to the fore. And this will give it like an example. You have a person who's praying with kavanah. Russia, and there stands in front of him a idol worshiper. Now, it's in Lessons in Tanya. There's something else that this is a euphemism, an idol worshiper. We've talked about this before. In some versions, in the original versions of Tanya, whenever it refers to a person like this, it calls him a goy, or a non-Jew, or a uncircumcised heathen. But that language was a little bit difficult for the world to take at large. So the language got changed to avoided geluli, those who serve the idols, right? A smaller group of people. But it really means all of those who do not have a nefesh elokis. If there stands in front of you a person like that, and he starts chatting with you and speaking with you, in order to confuse you, right? Imagine you're standing there davening, and somebody from the outside comes in and starts up with you, talking to you. That can be very distracting. So the advice is as follows: don't answer back at all. Don't get involved with that. Make yourself like a deaf person, like Hishama, who doesn't hear. And fulfill in that Masha Kosev, that's what's written in Mishlei, Altan Kasil Be'elosai. Do not answer a fool in his foolishness. Until then you will become like him. Similarly, Ayashi Ma'uma, don't answer him at all. Bishum Taina, and don't start talking back to him. Umayna Neged Hama Shabazora, and answer him This which is causing you to have this negative thought. Here's interesting. Here's an interesting expression. One who wrestles with a filthy person will become filthy. Don't engage with the nefesh bahamis, with its yetzer hora. So one who wrestles with a filthy person will be misnavel gamkim, will also become dirty. What should you do? You should make yourself as if you don't know. And you're not hearing. Now this is back to internally in yourself. When this is going on inside yourself, make yourself turn your ears, your inner ears off, and don't listen to the voice of the yetzer hora which has fallen into you. Turn that away from your das, the attention that your mind is giving, and add to the power of your kavanah, like the moshel of the two wrestlers. And if it's difficult for you, to turn away from these thoughts or push away these thoughts from your mind, because these are very strong and they've overtaken your mind very much with all of their strength. Azai, here's the answer for that. And this can happen, right? I just can't get rid of it, right? I can't, I'm distracted and it's distracting me and I can't get rid of it. So Azai, then, Yashpil Nafshil Hashem. Humble yourself in front of Hashem. V'yischanin loy, and beg, beseech him, Yisborach, may he be blessed, b'mashavtoi, in your thoughts. Beseech him, Hashem, l'rachem oilov, to have mercy upon you. B'rachamov ha'merubim, with his great mercy, merachem av albanim, like a father who has mercy on his children. Animshechim emoichai. And why is that? Because the children are drawn from the brain of the parent. They're the same essence. So when you're asking Hashem to have mercy on you, you're in a sense, as he's about to say, you're asking Hashem to have mercy on himself, because we are a part of him. So if you ask Hashem for mercy, Hashem will have mercy on you, on your nafshe, on your soul, which is drawn from him, Yisborach, l'hatzila, v'mayim hazodonim, to save you from the floodwaters, v'lamana yaseh, and for his sake, he will answer you. In other words, as I said, because you are part of him, so he is having mercy on you is essentially him having mercy on a part of himself, as he says, because his people, us Jewish people, are mamish a part of him. And that's easy to do. In other words, that's like, I can't push this thought, or it's overcoming me. It's easy then to cry for mercy to Hashem. And Hashem will help you because you are a part of him. Rivka.
Yes, hi. This harkens back to something we learned not long ago when I was driving and I couldn't talk, but I have the same question. So this is good. How does this harmonize with
Excuse me. Sorry.
What we learn, that we have to learn from everything around us? Everything we see, everything we hear, it's something that we're supposed to learn from. I mean, okay, I got the negative part, like don't even think about it, but how are we supposed to learn from these things that are happening, so to speak, if we're just pushing it away? You know, the concept that everything you see, everything you hear is you're supposed to learn
from Hashem, right?
A mirror.
So you're learning, and the base thing you're learning is to practice iskafia. You're learning, number one, that you should practice iskafia, and this is an opportunity for you to do it. And what we're learning on the pages here is you have the strength to do it. Just like the wrestler when he has another his opponent on top of him, can summon a strength to turn that over, you have that power.
But there are other things. My question is to differentiate between the things we're supposed to look deeply into and learn a lesson from, not just this is not good, I don't want it, but what is this trying to tell me about my avoda? What is this? Not just that fact that I'm not in control of my thoughts.
No, it's telling you about your avoda, that that I'm giving you an opportunity to be in control of your thoughts. Use it. I mean,
okay.
I don't know if you're getting at something else.
We're missing each other. For instance,
we mean the fact that it's from God. What, I'm not clear what problem.
It's all from God. It's all from God. That's not a
so what's your problem?
You have a critical thought about somebody else, and therefore you should think into yourself, oh, I must have this mida, this problem within myself. How am I going to fix it? Something more substantial than just, this is not good, push it away.
I don't know what to answer you.
There's different, okay.
I'm not really getting the question. You have a thought about something, the negative thought about
somebody else so understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, so that's like, internal lashon hora. You're thinking with your mind about someone else lashon hora. Recognize it's lashon hora.
No, but it means something to me about what I'm supposed to do in my avoda. It's not just that I'm not supposed to think this. I learn something from this, but something more than just mind, discipline.
I don't know. All right. Maybe someone else has an idea of what you're talking about. I'm not clear.
Okay. To say whether learn from it. What are we meant to learn from? Aren't we meant to learn something from it? And perhaps not. We're not meant to learn from everything.
Yeah, I mean, my answer is apparently not sufficient. We're meant to learn from it, that we have the power to reverse it, stop it. We have that power. The fact that it's occurring is, this is the darkness from light. But I think you want something more than that.
Yeah, that's what he's saying here.
You're after something more than that. I'm not sure what it is.
I'm trying to take this teaching and distinguish it from the teaching we learn that everything we see we should learn from in the good. To improve ourselves. This is a type of improvement. It's discipline of the mind and focus and.
I mean, those kinds of things are usually brought. That everything we can learn from. You can learn from an ant, the power of community, right? And things like that. That's where that side of things is. You learn from everything. Learn from everything. If that's what you're after, you want to know what you can learn from the Yetzer Hara.
No, I'm just trying to distinguish how you're going to distinguish which thoughts you're supposed to push away and which you're supposed to incorporate into your avoda to get a positive.
That's pretty simple, but so I don't know your question. What thoughts you push away are the thoughts towards, as he says, Loila Hashem, which are not to Hashem. Those thoughts you push away, and the thoughts that you encourage yourself are the thoughts which are for Hashem. Similarly, in action, in mitzvah, in deed, you push away the desire for doing something that's not aligned with Hashem, and you cultivate the desire for doing things which are for Hashem. But that's not learning from. Anyway, we'll move on. Anybody else? Any other comments, questions? So how about a bechain here? Taking what we learned today and asking ourselves, therefore, what will I do?
Ask Hashem for help.
I like that one. Right. You're already at that stage. We've tried to push it away. We've tried, but ask Hashem to help. All right.
Question. In your davening Shemona Esrei, right? Yeah. And thoughts. So just in your mind, you're supposed to ask Hashem for help because you're kind of interrupting the interruption.
Right. Well, you're already interrupted, right? Right. That's the interruption, right?
Yeah.
You can first step is push it away and move on. But if you can't do that, yes, ask Hashem for help. And you even have a bracha for that. Rachem. Hashem is merciful. Yeah? Did that question get answered or just died out? I'm not sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just thinking about like the struggling with it. We're not wrestling with it. We're not struggling with it. And it was a very good image for me to think if a galach was standing in front of me, am I going to engage with him? Am I going to like debate? Am I going to like,
Right.
no, I'm just going to walk away. I'm going to close my ears. I'm going to turn around and walk away. So that image helped me.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Anybody else? In Bahrain? All right.
I think it also applies to people who are just trying to irritate you and to bring you
for
down.
Sure. For sure.
And engage in the machloket, or it's a really good strategy in general.
Okay, beautiful. Good Shabbos. And till we meet again.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.